Hi, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Katie Joy. So I'm gonna do a quick update on Amber Portwood because y'all asked for a separate video about Amber, and I was like, I can do that. I can talk about Amby. We can talk about Amby all day, girls and boys. All right. So I wish I have a little bit of an update, and she did break her silence. And it's kind of funny what she did. But so Amber Portwood, let's get up to the real deal here. Miss Portwood got into a bit of an altercation on the early morning of July 5th in her house that she shares with her boyfriend Andrew Glennon. During the altercation, according to reports and the complaint, Andrew Glennon said that she attacked him while he was holding their son, James. So everything went down around 3 a.m. on July 5th. Being that it was the 4th of July, there could have been some exuberant celebration on the part of Amber. She might have been drinking. She could have been doing drugs. It's so hard to know with her. She has had issues in the past with drugs and alcohol. So that would not be too outside of the norm. And despite her sobriety, has been known to drink alcohol, even though most people that are in recovery for addiction should abstain from nearly all substances. So there's been zero information released about whether or not alcohol or drugs played a factor. Her mugshot does show her to be extremely pale and has sort of glassy eyes. Now, for your viewing pleasure, I've decided to show you all of the mugshots for Amby over the years. As you can see, she's quite adorable. She takes a very great photo, but this is the recent one, and she looks very, very rough. So Amber has been arrested multiple times. She actually had the same charge when she was arrested in 2010 with an altercation between her and Gary Shirley. That charge initially landed her with probation. Ultimately, she was not able to maintain her probation because she was violating probation by testing positive for drugs. She had additional drug charges added, which is what you're seeing here in the additional photos. And eventually it got to a point where she was put into drug court. She had to take mandatory testing. She got to a point where she just literally couldn't pass the testing. She said she was completely addicted at the time. And so instead she asked the court to just lock her up. And she went to jail for 17 months. The average sentence for a class 6 felony of domestic assault involving a minor child is from 6 months to 2.5 years. The average sentence, according to Indianapolis guidelines, is about 18 months. So typically a judge in this case would have someone serve around 17 to 18 months, which is ultimately what she served in the case. And after that, she was on probation, and then she was off probation, and then she was seemingly doing okay. She was released in 2013. She was the new Amby then. She was all zen. But signs have been sort of littered over the years that she's still not making the best decisions. She's had many altercations online. She got involved with Matt, for crying out loud, who, by the way, is a total dirtbag and used her considerably. And I was doing a little bit of digging online and trying to see if there was any active court cases for her. Currently, there are none. So the Indiana Department of Justice system has not updated any of the court records. However, her next court case for this arrest, which was on July 5th, will be tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. She bonded out yesterday, and so she spent about 24 hours in jail. She was first processed and then moved to the main county jail in Marion County, and now she is at home. So she'll have her first court case tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. to be arraigned on the charges, as well as to find out about all of sort of the stipulations over with her bail and what's going to come up next. So this is kind of how it goes now. There was a 911 dispatch call or dispatch text or call that went out after dispatch received the message from Andrew. And according to a text message that Andrew sent to police on July 5th, he said that he was scared for his life and the life of his child. And that's why he called police. So when police arrived, they spoke with Andrew, and then they subsequently interviewed Amber, and then they arrested her on the scene. So at this point, she is facing another felony. She had a felony charge in 2010, and she is racking up the mugshots. Now, she was incarcerated for just over 24 hours. And during that time, some of the Teen Mom 2 stars were kind of speaking out a little bit. And I'm just going to hold on a second. Some of the Teen Mom 2 stars had a lot to say, you guys. And Janelle was probably the first one to start talking about it. And what she did was she started sharing clickbait, which is like literally what all these girls do. Like all they do is they must have relationships with Hollywood gossip. They also must have like get paid by Champion Daily, because those are like literally the websites that all of these girls love to share. So Janelle started this by sharing her her links. And she did this as of this morning. If you see, she shared an article this morning about Amber. She's also shared like the shocking story of the arrest, which she shared yesterday. And then she also shared on the 5th that Gary Shirley spoke out. And then she wrote on the afternoon of the 5th, all I have to say is at least I learned from my past mistakes. To which I say, really, Janelle? You haven't been arrested lately, but you just got out of court for something pretty serious, girl. You the last person to be throwing shade at somebody, girl. And because Janelle and Ambi are just such best friends, which, by the way, you guys, I realize they're not best friends, but I like to call them best friends because it's a joke. So I noticed in comments, you guys were like, they're not friends. And I'm like, dude, I know they're not friends. They hate each other. But I like to make fun of them by saying they're best friends. Get it? I have a very dry sense of humor. So if you haven't caught that yet, that's the deal. So because Amber and Janelle are like besties, I was like, girl, why are you shading her? And then I was like, oh yeah, because you're best friends. And that's what you guys do to each other. So Gary Shirley also broke his silence, and he said that my prayers are with Amber Portwood and Andrew, and most importantly, baby James. I don't know any of the particulars, however, I'm thinking of them, and for all of those questionings and concerns, Leah is currently camping with her best friend. So Leah was not at the home, not involved, basically safe, is basically what Gary was trying to get at. To which got a prompted response from Sean Portwood over here, who said, insane, I cannot wait to tell her what is on my mind. Now, Sean is Amber's brother, and you'll know him from Teen Mom OG. He shows up every once in a while and tries to give her like advice. And he is always painted as kind of like the rock in her family. Now, after I spent some time on Sean's Twitter, I don't know how much advice I would want to take from this man, being that he is a avid right-winging conservative that really has not so nice things to say about a lot of people. And that's her support system, guys. All right, so I digress. That was just me being snarky. So Sean's not happy with his sister. And then Cheyenne had lots to say about this. Cheyenne was all like, Janelle should be the last person throwing shade. I hate when people kick a person when they're down. Okay, you guys. So you're going to just like you're just going to support somebody that attacked a boyfriend when they were holding a baby. Interesting. Interesting, Cheyenne. I think my concern in this case would not be with Amber, but would be rather with the baby, like Gary said. I don't have too many thoughts or prayers for Amber at this point. Amber is who she is. How many times do we have to like pretend like Amber is not Zen? Amber has not reformed herself. Amber has barely been sober this entire time. The only reason Amber has stayed out of trouble is because she's been managed to be probably reeled in by the men that she's involved with. Amber is a hot mess. So, but I guess you've drawn the line in the sand, Cheyenne, and you're gonna support your girl. Cute. I support baby herders too every day, Cheyenne. And then she says, I stay out of everyone's drama, but I'm sorry, that irritated me. Anyway, back to the positive vibes. Okay, Cheyenne, says the girl that shares clickbait. You can't really pretend like you stay out of the drama when you're the one over here sharing information about their drama. Oops, over here. I really need to get a pointer, you guys, of their drama. And then you're also sharing, oh, what'd you do? Oh, you dropped and shared a copy of Janelle's 911 call that she made against David. Is that really staying out of the drama, Cheyenne? I don't think so. Oh, and what were you doing while she was in jail? Were you staying out of the drama then, Cheyenne? Because you weren't. You were actually sharing clickbait articles for Amber and Gary. That's definitely not staying out of the drama, Cheyenne, but you keep telling yourself you're staying out of the drama, girl. Macy McKinney, for her part, she's also not staying out of the drama. Oh, come on, Macy. Why you gotta be like this? You're like the only girl on this show that's supposed to have a brain, that is supposed to not get involved with this crap, that's supposed to be above this crap. Maybe it's because you are still sort of digesting and angry about Ryan's wife or Ryan's, I need a good name for Mackenzie, like Ryan's, like, I don't know, 15, 18-year wife, the wife that's just trying to get onto Teen Mom 2, Ryan's leech, because Ryan's leech is pregnant with a second baby. So maybe this is why you are doing this. I don't know, Macy, but I'm not impressed. So, sharing clickbait. So you're really supporting Amber, but you're sharing clickbait, Macy. Cute. But then Macy also retweeted Cheyenne. How are you going to retweet Cheyenne and then in the same one have the one below it that says Amber Portwood calls reporter, son is in danger. 911 caller reports son is in danger. So you're going to retweet Cheyenne about how we shouldn't kick someone she's down, but then you share over there that the son is in danger. You girls are such hypocrites. You girls are so gross. Anything for a buck, you guys, right? Champion Daily. You guys are all on Champion Daily's payroll. Could you at least find like a legitimate news source to share, you guys? Champion Daily, Hollywood Gossip, all of those rags, they're all clickbait. It's all crap. It's all designed for you guys to click through 17 different pages to get to the story with a headline that literally makes no sense or is very limited to what is actually like in the content itself. There's Gary's response, which I showed you before, but had Sean's response there. But that's his actual response that he tweeted on the 5th, which is by far, I'd say, the most calm. Now, he is sending prayers to Amber. I don't know. Maybe he's just being like, prayers, I hope you get it together. But Gary kind of knows that Amber is like a lunatic. Which, by the way, can we just say, like, Gary, way to get your shit together. Seriously, you were like the loser that just played video games and was horribly out of shape, and you were super lazy and you never did anything. And now you have become a police officer, according to photos shared by your wife, Christina, on Instagram. You've lost a ton of weight, you have another child, and you have been a stand-up dad and involved in Leah's life. So thank you, Gary, for doing the things that you need to do to take care of the child that your ex-fiance only sees when it's convenient for her. Okay? And I hope that this isn't going to be another situation where Amber and Andrew end up splitting up and then Andrew ends up getting custody of James. Because, like, wouldn't that just be how it works? Not to mention, Amber literally just thought she was pregnant again, so thank God she's not pregnant, you guys. Could you imagine bringing a child into this mess? Another one? I already feel bad for James and Leah. Can you add a third? No thanks. So Janelle, although yeah, I already showed you the stuff. Okay. So that was Janelle. That was like the cast members speaking out. I checked. Leah didn't say anything. Jeremy didn't say anything. Chelsea didn't say anything. And Farrah's mom tweeted like some stuff about the arrest, but didn't really say anything. Farrah, I don't know if she said anything. Caitlin hasn't tweeted at all about it, and neither has Tyler. So that's kind of where all the other. I haven't checked to see if. I forgot to check to see if Kaylin said anything. I feel like Kaylin would totally say something in this situation. But I digress. Now, here. How did Amber respond? So after spending hours upon hours in the pokey, and away from her child and away from her family, she responds by dropping the 911 call of Janelle, where she was calling 911 last fall after her altercation with David. That's literally how Amber responded. That's like gaslighting, you guys. Like, that's total deflection. That's deflection 101. Sure, you're pissed off that Janelle said stuff, but I'm pretty sure, Amby, that the entire time that Janelle was in jail, or not in jail, the whole time Janelle was dealing with her custody issue, you weren't quiet about her. So why would she be quiet about you? It's like, you guys are so hypocritical. You want her not to talk, but yet you, the entire time her kids were like out, or she was in the court with all the stuff going on with her kids, all you did was share clickbait and pose your opinion about what, was going on with Janelle. So of course, if Janelle has the opportunity to throw shade at you, she's gonna, because that's how Janelle works. Don't you know that, Amby? Janelle get down with everybody. She ain't scared. So instead of like actually dealing with her own crap or saying like, I'm really sorry about what happened, or making an official statement or doing that, she shared it not only on her Twitter, but also on her Instagram and her story, which said, swipe up to listen. So she's trying to profit off of Janelle's 911 call from last fall, which, listen, you guys, it's not a good 911 call. It sounds horrible. It's really terrifying. We already know that David's a turd. We already know that David's a lunatic. We already know that Janelle and David have a horrible relationship and their kids are in danger. Like, that's not a question. But like, Amber, seriously, how about you just like be an adult and like not deflect your anger onto Janelle? Ignore her and just like deal with what's going on in your own house and what's going on with you. And why are you attacking Andrew in the middle of the night while he's holding your kid? That's pretty serious. It's pretty easy to like go back at Janelle and like kick her, but like, how about you kick yourself and like take the blame, or, take some responsibility for your choices. But Amber doesn't do that. Amber's always the victim, always. So, was there other stuff in here? No. So that's what Amber's had to say. Andrew hasn't said anything, which is weird. And MTV has said nothing. Nothing. Okay, so you guys that are outraged that Janelle can get kicked off, but Amber can get arrested and still have a job and have an employment, the only way that you guys are going to get any headway with getting Amber off the show, if this situation really does outrage you, and we'll learn more when she goes to court about what happens as more of the complaints are issued, as prosecutors are able to lay out the events that transpired. If this goes to trial, you'll hear testimony. And here's the deal, like in a lot of domestic assault cases, like even if Andrew were to change his mind and say that he's going to drop charges against her, it's very unlikely that in a lot of these cases, especially when children are involved, that the prosecutor would. Because if a prosecutor knows that a child was at risk, it really doesn't matter what the spouse wants or what the partner wants, because the issue and the utmost importance will be around the safety of the child. And because he was being held by Andrew, that's a big deal. Now, CPS was called and will be involved in this because he was in this case. So there could be a lot of like very big issues coming down the pike for Amber. They could end up putting like a no contact order between the victims and her. they could end up putting a no contact order between her and her son. There's a lot of things that can happen in these cases to protect the child, especially if she's not considered stable at this point in time. It's kind of scary that all of these people are like speaking out, but no one's talking about the baby. Nobody's talking about this proverbial issue in the room, which I always feel like with all of these cases, you guys, that the kids are always like the after effect. They're always the part of the story that's almost like a side, like, oh, you know, when you're watching Teen Mom and Teen Mom 2, it's like the kids aren't really ever the focus. The focus is always on the drama. The focus is always on the trash. And the kids' like storylines don't exist. So of course, in this case, the kid's storyline wouldn't exist. So why would James's, you know, effects from this matter? Yes, he's a baby, but still, babies can react to trauma. Lots of yelling, lots of fighting, that does shape babies' brains. Babies' brains are extremely pliable in the first couple of years, and I'm not a Dr. Google. Someone made that comment the other day, like when I was talking about yesterday, when I was talking about Mackenzie getting pregnant so quickly. Listen, I'm not Dr. Google. What I am is I'm someone that's written a lot of stuff about birth and on child rearing from my work on pathios. And so I've done a lot of work on preterm birth, and I do know for a fact that when you have babies too early, it is hard on your body, and it does cause preterm childbirth, and it's a higher incidences for preemies. If you want to learn more about that in terms of how this could impact Mackenzie being pregnant so quickly, I encourage you to visit the March of Dimes. They have a ton of information and resources on how long a woman should wait to have a second child, okay? So I'm not Dr. Google, it's just literally what I've known from doing what I do every single day with my work. So in this case, you know, the little babies can, you know, they store all of this processing. If he's not getting the kind of like nurturing and attention that he needs, that can affect his long-term development. She's got a lot of stuff going on with her own mental illness. She's had issues with substance abuse. She's admitted to being bipolar. Some people have speculated that she might have not just bipolar, but what's that? BPD. Oh, you guys, I talk about this all the time. Borderline personality disorder. Because a lot of times, like, borderline personality disorder can be comorbid with other mental illnesses. So she has been very open with the fact that she's bipolar. She suffered from postpartum depression with James, and she also has had issues with anxiety and depression. So she's got a lot on her plate, and whether or not she's taking care of her mental health is one question. But she's often used her mental illness as an excuse for her bad behavior. And I just want to point out to you guys that most of you probably already know, but it's never appropriate to use mental illness as an excuse, because mental illness is only an explanation. It isn't an excuse. I have ADHD, and if I acted out and I did something like that to my son, I wouldn't say, well, it's because I have ADHD, or it's because I'm not doing this, or it's because I'm doing that. Like, she has the resources, she has the money, she has tons of money from MTV, she has all of these clickbait money. There's really zero reason why she shouldn't have all of the all of the medical help she needs to be managing all of that. And so if she's using that as an excuse, or if she uses that as an excuse, it's not an excuse, you guys. And I don't think we should excuse the behavior simply because she has a mental illness, because there's plenty of people that have mental illnesses that don't do this. This is just a pattern of behavior for her. She's violent, she lashes out, she blames everybody else. She's always the victim. So I'll be really interested to see what comes out of this, how she responds truly, because right now, shading Janelle is super immature and totally a gaslight move. So, yeah, and that's very true, Ben. Amber has notoriously been extremely lazy. Let's just be very honest here. In the, how many years that she's been on MTV, she is probably one of the laziest people ever. What does she do? She lays in bed, she sits on her couch. She's never had a real job. And I get it. Like, some of these, like, we always say that they've never had a real job, and they'll say, well, she has a job. She's on Teen Mom. She's making a lot of money on Teen Mom, so she doesn't need a real job. But Teen Mom isn't going to last forever. And it's not going to be a long-term solution. They need to have something to fall back on. It's the same crap that Tyler's mom has been drilling into him and Caitlin for years. Like, you guys have to do something else, because this show is eventually going to end, and then you're going to have nothing. And you're not going to have the money, and you're not going to have the resources to pay for all of the things that you've gotten accustomed to getting because of this career. So, yeah, let me just double check on the chat. And yes, I agree with you, Jennifer. Absolutely. Mental illness is a ongoing process. And I have ADHD. I'm very, 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 very honest about that. That was another comment I got in my comments earlier today, was like, how are you so going to judge other people online? Like, is your life so perfect? Like, I bet there's skeletons in your closet. And I'm like, girl, like, I'm honest with all of my skeletons. I have ADHD, I have OCD, I have anxiety, and I have panic attacks, of which I take medication. I've had counseling on and off that has helped me with coping mechanisms and managing my behavior. And now, because of my medications working effectively, I don't need to have counseling. It's amazing what it can do when you're taking care of yourself. I see my doctor every 3 months to make sure that my medications are working. We go over a chart that discusses all of my symptoms. And that's what happens when you are in the process of actually taking the steps to take care of yourself. In the case of someone like Amber, where you're clearly not taking care of yourself because you are still dealing with the very violent outbursts, you're dealing with the anger and the rage, that's not taking care of yourself. And sometimes with some of these, disorders, especially if it's a personality disorder, it's not just a medication. A lot of it is behavioral therapy or working with better coping mechanisms. And she has had a lot of trauma when she was a kid, and I would like highly not doubt that there's some sort of personality disorder in there with the bipolar that's kind of magnifying all of this. But that means, even more importantly, that she would need lots of therapy, and this wouldn't be something that she should be walking away from. And the fact that she repeatedly has issues with it, has struggled with substance dependency and substance abuse for years, and has been an addict and is an addict, that's a big deal. So yes, to answer your question, Maverick, OCD and ADHD are comorbids. So you can have ADHD and then you can have OCD as a comorbid. You could actually have ADHD independent, and you can have OCD independent. But usually if you have OCD, you're going to also have either anxiety or ADHD. And if you have ADHD, you're usually going to have like anxiety or OCD. So I just have OCD, ADHD, anxiety, and panic disorder. Woohoo! Go me! Which is why my house is usually very organized. But I take my medication. So my concern on this channel is never really about the gossip or the tea per se. And I hope when you come to my channel, you realize that I'm not just simply gossiping about this. I like to try to bring in my real world expertise. I'm a mom, I'm 40 years old. I have almost a 7-year-old kid. I have a lot of experience. I'm a lot older than these girls. And I'm also on my column on Pathios, I cover a lot of crime. Tons of crimes of bad parents doing child abuse. And child abuse content is one of my number one things that I write about on my column. So if you go to my Pathios column, which is always linked in my descriptions or in my about section, you'll see lots of different articles, and it's not always just about celebrities. I write about average parents. Yesterday I wrote about a story in I don't even remember what state it was, where a mother shook her baby. I've written about lots of different stuff. So this isn't just outside of my realm. It's just on YouTube, I can talk about this kind of stuff because you guys are interested, and Teen Mom is my guilty pleasure. So that's what I got for you today on Amber. And I appreciate you guys for following me, for liking, subscribing. If you want to reach out to me and talk with me on Twitter, I'm at WOA Crystal Ball. And I am always open to suggestions for coverage. I'm literally giving you guys this stream right now because so many of you asked me to do this and address this in its separate video. So this is me listening to you, giving you this stream. As well as if you have tips, if you know people, if there's things that you know, you can always send that to me in my Facebook. That's usually the best place. I have worked with a lot of different sources throughout the years. If you saw any of my coverage of James Charles and Tati Westbrook's drama, you will know that I had people from James Charles camp giving me information, which I don't ever release my sources' information. So just know that if you do have information and you want me to share it, let me know. And I always will respect any sources that do come forward, and we can go on, off the record, anonymous, on the record with your name. Just saying. I really love to have more like insight from people directly connected to the cases. All right, you guys. So for now, tomorrow morning, we're going to all sort of wait with bated breath to figure out what happens in court. It's probably not going to even be really a long hearing. Usually the first court appearance is like the arraignment. They read the charges to her. Because this happened over a weekend, there just probably wasn't court on Friday. It was probably closed for the holiday. So she's being arraigned tomorrow morning, meaning she'll hear the charges. They'll talk about what happened, and then she will plead. She can either, she may or may not plead to this. She'll probably plead not guilty. And then we'll see if she says anything. And of course, I will keep you guys updated. For now, that's all I got. And I will just, if you guys see stuff, if you see statements before I do, send them to me, let me know. And I appreciate you guys, all of the new people that are on here and following me. Thank you so much for being new to my channel. I'm so, so grateful. And check out my other videos if you're interested. I have done a lot of different stuff, and I do some stuff personally, like about my life. So I'm not just on here throwing shade, y'all. All right, you guys, I hope you have a really good day. Try to get out and have some time with your family, and see you on the next time.